Welcome back to another exciting episode of Dead Ball Dancing. College basketball is, I'm going to say, heating up. It's been pretty good this season, but the past, like Feast Week and the past couple games, I think we've learned a lot. I know I have tightened my rankings up quite a bit. How you doing, Justin?
I'm good, man. How are you? Yeah, I think this past week was a really good week of basketball. Some really interesting kind of matchups and some scores. You know, Texas Tech kind of continues to struggle through the gates here a little bit after the Purdue beatdown, and looking at the Big Ten, like definitely seeing some of the cream of the crop rise to the top. Obviously, you know, Michigan State, Purdue still look really good. Michigan obviously looks incredible, and then pretty good matchup versus Duke, Florida this past week. That was a really exciting game to watch. So looking forward to kind of diving into both those teams today. But yeah, it's holiday hoop season, man. I don't think there's a better time of year to watch college basketball. And I'm not just excited to talk about the big guys that you see, but also some little dark horse and some mid majors that are looking pretty good. So how are you, man? What's going on with you?
Dude, we're halfway through a move. This was officially the last episode in this studio.
Let's go,
Uh,
dude.
so if something looks a little weird, it's because my camera's not mirrored and I'm sitting on the floor.
Oh, oh. Okay. All right. All right.
All
Yeah.
the text already moved. I thought I had a setup
Yeah.
here that was going to work,
Yeah.
and man, forgot a chair, forgot a camera. So
That's
we're
okay.
running on the phone, we're rocking and rolling, man. We're doing our thing.
Yeah, and I don't know if the viewers just caught what he just did, but Rick's been doing a lot of squats in the gym. So really, what he was trying to show off is the short shorts and the thighs. Look good, man. Looks like you've been powerlifting a little bit. Look like you're in pretty good shape going into Christmas season, where I'm going the opposite direction. I want to say paternity has probably put like 10 pounds on, and then plus, the whiskey and the cookies. I'm probably looking at being like 210, 215 by the time my birthday rolls around in January. But you look great.
Right. I appreciate you. I don't like how you just tell the viewers like what I'm doing. They're supposed to figure that out for themselves, but that's fine. We have stabilized a little bit in the top 25. We talked a little bit last week about how there's like 50 teams that could pop onto this at any given time just because there's only the two of us ranking.
Mhm.
I like this version of the rankings much better than I liked last week's. I
Yeah.
feel like I said, we're starting to learn a little bit more about who these teams are and where they should be placed. So you do see some bigger jumps in here, but I don't think any that are unwarranted.
Yeah, agreed. I think you and I have kind of struggled, and I think we're gonna have a really good conversation about the top 25 today. But you and I have kind of struggled, maybe me a bit more, understanding where to put Indiana and Baylor. Right, like Baylor's finally starting to come around. I like the way they play basketball a little bit more now. But Indiana, I don't know what to do. Right, because in certain aspects they look so good, and they almost beat Bethune-Cookman by 50 points, right? On last Saturday, but then they come out flat versus Minnesota, right? And I'm looking at Indiana, and I'm waiting for them to kind of put the pedal to the metal here a little bit. So I actually dropped them out, but I think I was a bit harsh on them this week. So Indiana at 21 feels fine to me. The only thing that I find interesting, and I know we've also struggled about this, and I'll turn it over to you here to kind of kick us off, is Kentucky, right? I think Kentucky is a team that you and I have kind of been down on a little bit this year, and um, whew, talk about an ass whooping, right? So, without further ado, why don't you kick us off with a little bit of Zaga, Kentucky, man?
Yeah, I mean, let's talk some Zags.
Yeah,
By the same token, like Gonzaga's gotten their ass beat too, and
yeah,
they've looked really bad. And we've talked about believing less in Kentucky and not being sure who Kentucky is. So
yeah,
I I moved Gonzaga up my rankings, but I'm not convinced it's the right spot because this team is like the most dangerous team and the most fragile team.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
now we've seen everything, right? So now you can feed me any outcome, and I would believe it.
yeah,
Gonzaga beats Purdue at Mackey. Maybe not that one, but
yeah, yeah,
everything else in the entire sport, sure, right? I mean, Gonzaga has the pedigree. Gonzaga has the players.
yeah.
It shouldn't be crazy to us that this is happening, but they've also got blown off the court by all accounts a tournament team, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
who is Gonzaga, and then slice that into who is Kentucky, and I don't think we No, I gun to my head, Gonzaga's the better team. And
Yes.
of course, right? They just blew them out. Of course, I'm going to say that, right? But
Yeah. No,
I
no, of
think
course.
if you take their body of work and look at what they've done and what we think they're capable of, one of my knocks on Kentucky for the last 2 years we were doing this show is that it's a collection of pieces. Kentucky's
Yeah.
not a team.
No.
It's
No.
kids that want to go to the NBA, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It works
Yeah.
70% of the time. Gonzaga is very much a team. No one goes to Gonzaga to make the jump to the NBA. You go to
Right.
Gonzaga to be college basketball royalty and to be big fish, small pond. And that's awesome for those kids, but it makes them more of a unit. And so I think if I took these two teams moving forward the rest of the year, I have to have Gonzaga ranked ahead of Kentucky because they are a team. They are a polished unit. So whatever happens, weirdness, blowouts, we know Gonzaga is going to be in the tournament.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think they're just as likely to win the national championship as they are to be bounced week one or game one. But I don't like watching them play because I have no idea what to expect. And the analytic piece of me is like, oh, like what's happening? Like this doesn't make any sense. None of it jives with what I think I know.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say something that I think might be a bit controversial, knowing that this team I'm about to name is better than what we thought they were going to be. But I think that the Gonzaga we saw in a 12-point win over ASU is more indicative of who they are. Um, when you look at Gonzaga, the Gonzaga we saw versus Kentucky. And I think the reason we don't like watching Gonzaga play is because historically the things that they've been good at, right? Tough nosed defense, smart basketball, defend without fouling, take smart shots. They're struggling with that this year, right? I mean, they're like 200th in the nation in fouls committed to the game. Teams are just parading to the free throw line against Gonzaga, albeit they're still winning games against a Bama, against a Maryland, right, against a Kentucky. So I know they're closing those games out, but let's say Gonzaga. Let's say Gonzaga makes the tournament. Let's say they stampede all the way to the Sweet 16. The Sweet 16 is going to have other Michigan-style teams, and that these Michigan-style teams, like a Purdue, like a Michigan State, like a Big Ten-style team, will smoke this team out of the water, and that's what I'm concerned about, right? Because you so adequately put it, it's the brand of basketball that isn't sustainable against the teams that you and I think are going to win the championship this year. And I think that is the reason why I'm also struggling on where to put Gonzaga. I mean, I know they're 15 for us, holistically. I personally have them at 16. And I'm not sure that they're better than Illinois. I'm not sure that they're better than Arkansas. Are we sure that on a neutral site, Arkansas doesn't blow the hell out of this version of the Gonzaga team? So I'm with you, and I don't know what their schedule is this upcoming week. They have week. So they'll look good until they have to play like Oregon or UCLA. So looking forward to kind of seeing what they're doing over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's kind of pulled our rankings up and down. I had originally posed this as a question. Now I can say it as a definitive statement.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt is the best team in the SEC.
Yeah.
We have Vandy ranked ahead of everyone in the SEC, and that's partially a product of their play.
Yeah.
But also a product of some of the other play in the SEC. I know I personally have a whole mess of SEC teams kind of clustered near the back of the top 25.
Yeah.
And it's not because I can't tell them apart. It's because they're not different.
Yeah.
They are all very, very similar teams from a floor and a ceiling standpoint.
Yeah.
And Vandy, I know they've looked good. So, I mean, is Vandy the best team in the SEC for you? And what have you seen from them that impresses you?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we've talked about early season is, and we almost repeat it weekly, is you either have to schedule tough or beat the bad teams. And I think what Vanderbilt has done, and what has impressed me the most about them, is they're beating the bad teams by like 50 or whatever. But then they're also playing tournament style teams at St. Mary's and an SMU, and they're beating the shit out of them. Like they beat St. Mary's by 25 and SMU by 20, and they're not going to be able to keep this up through the entirety SEC play. But showing me that you can handle these tournament teams gives me confidence that you're going to be able to close out tough games. in the SEC schedule. And I just have a fun quip here. Like, I named their offense Tupac because how do you want it, right? And they're number 2 in scoring. Don't shake your head. You know that was fire. They're number 6 in field goal percentage. They're number 7 in 2-point percentage, but they're also 30th in 3. And when you watch them play basketball, they're dynamic as hell. They can slow the ball down and they can set up their sets, but they can match the pace of the other team. And if the other team wants to run up and down the court and get into a fast break battle, you're not going to be able to keep that up with Vanderbilt. And their only downfall is going to be their endurance. I don't know if you've watched them play. They play a ton of guys. I like their rotation. They have a lot of balance. The remainder of defense is stellar, but what they do is they get handsy in the second half of games. They're like 327th in the nation in fouls committed, and in the tournament where you're 40 games into the season, right? And all your guys are tired, and you have to rely on intangibles to win games. I'm a little bit concerned that they don't have the endurance to close those games out when you're game 45 of the season. So I'm going to keep my eye on that kind of going into the tournament. But given what the remainder of the SEC looks like, Rick, I'm not sure that there's a better team than Vanderbilt right now. And I know I mentioned it last week, but I think Vanderbilt is what Florida was supposed to be. Like, that's what my thought is, you know?
I think that's probably fair. I watch Vanderbilt, and my concern is the repeatability through an SEC schedule. I mean, Bama's still there, LSU, Georgia, Auburn, Arkansas, Tennessee, and then, oh yeah, Kentucky and Florida just kind of hanging out in the back, right? Yeah. And that's a lot of really good basketball. Whether or not they're all tournament teams, we can have that debate another day. But my concern with Vanderbilt is that this is new-ish, right? This is new culture. This is new talent. So being able to beat the 8 teams I just listed, some of them twice, it just feels unlikely to me. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see them continue to develop and get themselves to that spot. Because I do think the talent is there. I do think the culture is correct for that type of run. Is the SEC elite going to be this bad all season? Probably not.
Probably not.
So I feel like at some point Vanderbilt's going to have like a come to Jesus moment where like you either pull the trigger or you don't. And I fear if they don't in that moment, there's a 4-game slide on this schedule.
Yeah. And the one thing that I didn't call out, and I just looked into, is their head coach has a.
I said Jesus. We lost half our viewers.
Anyways, I'm gonna talk about the coach for a bit. I do think, you know, we have obviously talked about how coaching can either be blamed or kind of put on a pedestal depending on success. The one X factor I really like about this Vanderbilt team is Mark Byington, who's their head coach, started 2 years ago. 2024, 2025 was their first season. This guy has a culture of winning, dude. Like, he was actually the head coach at James Madison, and he had 3 top 2 finishes in the 4 years that he was at JMU. And in the past 2 seasons, he's taken JMU to the James Madison University to the round of 32, and then Vanderbilt obviously to the round of 64. Last year they stumbled and lost their first round game. I like what this coach does with the roster. I like their style of play. You know, Vanderbilt in the past decade has not been a very good team, obviously. So I think you adequately put that, like, repeatability and new atmosphere is going to be interesting to see how they respond. But they're certainly a fun team to watch. And I mean, they're already light years ahead of where they were last year in terms of a recruiting perspective and style of play perspective. So I guess, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Are you taking them to win the SEC?
You know, right now, I think they have to be the favorite for me. I'm sure they are not from an odds maker standpoint, just from pedigree alone. But I haven't seen anything from Vanderbilt yet that would turn me off of them. They're undefeated. They are statistically the best team in the SEC by record, right? I mean, that's a fact. Yeah. So I don't have a problem picking them to win. I think the problem's going to sort itself out, right? I don't think we're going to be sitting here with, a 25-0 Bama. Well, it can't be Bama because they've already lost. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we're not going to be at the end of the SEC schedule and be like, "Ooh, I don't know." Like, I think it's going to take care of itself before we get there. But as we sit here right now, December 6th, 9-0 Vandy, like, why not? Why not? We've seen them beat good teams. The rest of their schedule is good teams and South Carolina.
Yeah.
But they'll get through all of that. So I don't really have an issue with it. Especially when you look at the balance of the SEC. I mean, I really struggle with where to rank Florida.
I know.
Because we talked about how streaky the Zags are. We talked about Kentucky being god awful, and then also, I mean, they're still a blue blood with some of the most talented players in the country. Right, they're going to win more games, Yeah. But it's not like that. What was it? UNC went on that horrific slide like 5-6 years ago now, where they won like 14 games that year with NBA players.
Yeah.
But it's like I struggled with where to put Florida for this reason, right? Like, who is the favorite to win the SEC? At this point, I don't think it's Florida. But if you told me Florida won the SEC, I'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, do I put them ahead of Gonzaga? Do I put them ahead of Kentucky when Florida, Kentucky, the product on the court's been very similar? Gonzaga obviously has the wins, but they also have horrific losses. And it's like, do we reward a team for being consistent, being exactly who we are? So obviously I was overranked on Florida to start the year.
Yeah, I was.
But now it's like, all right, well, if I got Florida in the low 20s or high 30s, why would I shift them around if they win or lose games? Are they a tournament team? Yes or no? Are they a top 8 seed? Yes or no? And then just plug them in and leave them. And that's kind of where I'm at with Florida, because I don't feel like I'm learning anything watching their games.
Yeah, and we've touched on Florida, and how they look pretty awful compared to what we thought last year, and how the transfers, Zaven Lee, aren't performing to the expectations that we thought of. And just rounding out the conversation with Vanderbilt too, right? I think that's why I'm so high on Vanderbilt too, because if there's a year that they need to win the SEC title, it's this year, because the SEC is down, right? I mean, what the hell happened to Tennessee, Rick? After the win versus Houston, which by all intents and purposes is a massive win for Tennessee, right? Back-to-back losses against Kansas by 5 and Syracuse by 3. Tennessee, to me, I was a little bit less high on Florida than I think you were to start the year. I still had them top 5. Obviously, they were a phenomenal team, but there's not a more disappointing team to me in SEC other than it's Tennessee for me. And the reason is because it's not their defense. Their defense, for all intents and purposes, are still incredible, 19th in scoring, 17th in field goal, 21st in 2-point defense. They're still really good on the defensive side of the ball. They have, and this is a problem across the board that I'm seeing with the SEC, is there's zero flow and there's no discipline, right? I know we talked about discipline a little bit last week, right? And they're 130th in 3-point percentage, 205th in 3-point made. And this is a Tennessee team that last year was top 10 in both of those categories, both. And it's not like they're playing an incredibly difficult non-conference schedule, right? I mean, they're playing some really tough teams. I mean, they're performing poorly against a Kansas team and a Syracuse team that might not make the tournament, Rick. Both those teams might not make the tournament. And I mean, you look at the way they've been playing, and it's like Tennessee committed 21 fouls versus Kansas and shot 28% from the 3-point line on 25 attempts. If you're not hitting threes, get to the rack. Do change your style of play. And when I look at what some of these SEC teams coming up, specifically Tennessee, right? Illinois, Louisville, then they play 2-0, and then Arkansas, Texas, and Florida. They might start SEC play Tennessee 0-3, and Vanderbilt might start 3-0. And to me, that's why it's like Vanderbilt's 8 for us. Go get it this year. And if Vanderbilt ends up winning the SEC this year, I guarantee you their recruiting pipeline is going to absolutely pop. So I don't know what to do with these SEC teams this year. It doesn't feel, I don't feel confident that my rankings make sense. If that's where I'm struggling.
Yeah. They seem to lack killer instinct. I mean, that's what sets the SEC apart in football, right? They're better and they know it. And it seems to be lacking from these basketball teams who are also better, and they should know it. And in a year, and in half a year. I mean, the SEC was God Kings last year.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
they were everything, and
Yeah.
now it's just like I feel like they don't close out games, and they don't like have it.
No.
Like watching Florida games, like they don't believe that they can beat anybody. They
No.
just playing basketball,
Yeah.
and
Right.
I mean that's fine, right? But you're not going to win the games you shouldn't if you don't have that mindset going in.
Exactly. Exactly. And this is one of those things I think when you look at, we go back to this conversation that we have around coaching, right? And this to me, Florida and Tennessee is an example of the coaching letting them down, right? Like we know coaching at Kentucky is tough because the kids aren't bought in anyways from the beginning, but specifically for Florida and Tennessee that have a greater culture of winning and a better culture of wanting to succeed at the NCAA level and not just flipping your talent to the NBA. It's so disappointing to see how sloppy both these teams have performed this year, and how the intangibles have seemed to like legitimately just go off the roof. Like it's disappointing, and I don't know if I'm done sliding SEC teams down. Like I'm like Auburn. We haven't talked about them all year. Kudos to Auburn. I shout on them constantly to start the year. They're performing. They look really good. Bama still looks really good. But it feels like it's the teams that sucked last year. Look at our 13 and 14 slot, LSU and Georgia. Those were two teams that were bottom of the barrel SEC teams last year. They're the best teams in the conference right now, essentially, aside from Vanderbilt and Bama. So, yeah, I don't know what to do with the SEC.
Well, the nice thing is that not every conference is as tough as the SEC. Some are very cut and dry.
Yep.
Talk to me a little bit about the Big 12. Obviously,
Yeah.
little brother Arizona up there at number one.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, so obviously, you and I had a really good conversation early this year about what is the Big 12 going to look like. We faded Iowa State, and Iowa State's now arguably the best team in the country. We faded BYU, and in my opinion, the biggest threat to Arizona, other than Iowa State, is going to be BYU, because them putting it together is scary. We talked about a little bit about BYU's youth to start the season, and how it was going to take them time to kind of get themselves together before kind of showing us that they belong in our top 10, top 5. And they played UConn really, really tough. 2-point loss, loved that. And after that game, I was like, wow, I wonder if they're going to finally go on a run. And we know their offense is going to be prolific, right? No matter how you look at it, they're top 50 in scoring. They take care of the ball. They're shoot an incredibly high 2-point percentage, and they don't shoot a ton of threes. They don't fall in love with the three ball, which I really love. But to me, they have the height and they have the length to go up against an Arizona or an Iowa State and potentially dethrone them. And their defense has been playing out of this world, man. 55th in scoring, 53rd in field goal percentage defense, and only 20th in the nation in free throws allowed. They're defending without fouling, right? They're like top 10 in committed fouls per game. That coach has these kids humming, and man, was I wrong about the trajectory of BYU this season. I'll take full responsibility. I missed bad, Rick. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on the way that they've looked, but I'm very, very impressed with how BYU has turned their season around.
Yeah, I've got somewhat of an aggressive take, because one of our viewers, instead of commenting, helping the algorithm, walked up to me in person and had some feedback about how it was the only week we hadn't talked any BYU. And I was under the impression that this particular viewer didn't like us trashing on BYU. So
That's what
having
I
a week
thought.
off should have been a break.
We gave
So
them a break.
I'm going to say I agree with everything that you put out there, but I think this team has 12-5 upset written all over it.
Wow.
They are not the best team in the Big 12. Arizona is. Arizona has nothing to be afraid of.
No.
Iowa State has a massive game today that we're going to talk about in just a little bit.
Yes, sir.
If Iowa State loses that game by single digits, I have Iowa State higher than BYU the rest of the year.
Yep.
All jokes aside, I want to see it from BYU, right? Get into this Big 12 schedule. We talked a lot about how top heavy the Big 12 is. We have missed on the Big 12 from a ranking standpoint. So,
Yep.
but now we're in the season where we're a little bit clearer, right? Arizona and Iowa State and BYU and maybe even Baylor are teams who are capable of winning at home against pretty much anybody, on the road against the bottom 2/3 of the Big 12. I want to see what Kansas does in league play. I want to see what K-State does in league play.
West Virginia. West Virginia.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So I think there's a lot of run in the Big 12, and yes, these three teams are head and shoulders above everybody else in the Big 12, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I've been wrong twice this year on the Big 12, and it's early in the year still. I'm willing to be wrong again, but I think when I watch BYU, they have everything put together. They are a solid team. You don't go and just like, whoops, we beat UConn. Like, it's not a thing,
No.
So I think this is a really, really good team, and I'm excited to see what they do once we get into league play. I think BYU's got some run in them this year.
They do, and like the one thing I couldn't agree more. And the one thing that I think the one thing that I think makes them vulnerable is will make them vulnerable in the tournament. To your point, 5-12 upset potentially. I don't necessarily disagree with you. Is
they won't be a 5 line is the problem.
That's true. Is they come out first halves flat. If they weren't so bad in the first half, they're horrific in the first half. They're only at 39 points in the first half. It's abysmal. It's really abysmal. They would have beat UConn. They were down like 15 at one point in the first half. If you fix your first half aggression, this team is scary. But I'm not sure that they're going to get to the point where they have to go up against an Arizona or they have to go up against an Iowa State, which apparently is the best fucking offense that we've ever seen in the history of NCAA men's basketball, and come out flat and score 39 points. If you score 39 points in the first half against Iowa State, you might lose the game by 50. So I just they need to prove it to me that they can fix their first half woes, and then we can start talking about BYU maybe at a top 5 line, right? So we'll see kind of how that ends up.
I could literally hear in the bad part of Indiana a whole bunch of people taking notes when you just said that.
We'll get to that in a little bit. I'm scared.
I have one more call out, top 25 adjacent. I was going to talk about a team that you got notes loaded for first. So I had a quick pivot. I just wanted to give some props to Santa Clara. Santa Clara playing their ass off out west, beat the hell out of Xavier. Watch out for Santa Clara. Not on notice, but I just wanted to give them 30 seconds of time because you stole the team I was going to talk about.
Wait. For my on notice or for what I want to go talk about next? Oh, damn.
For on notice.
Oh, damn. That just shows how good you and I are synced up. Santa Clara is an impressive team. I actually had to play them in college. And we only lost to them by 4. But they're terrifying. The way they play basketball is very repeatable. And they should win. Which conference is that, Rick? That is WCC.
That's WCC.
And that's different from
the WAC. The WAC's the one you always mix it up with.
Thank you. So they should win their conference, I think, because that's not the conference with Gonzaga.
Correct.
Okay. See, I'm learning as I'm going too.
That's all the directional California schools.
Yeah, that no one really cares about. Go Santa Clara. Love the call out. Last piece for the top 25 that I just wanted to get some clarity on. I'm overly disrespecting them, but I'm not sure that they're top 25 worthy. Is give me a little bit of insight on Virginia at 17 before I go into my spiel. Like, just talk me through Virginia, because we've talked a little bit about the ACC, right, and how they should have a resurgent season. Some of their teams look really good. It feels a bit high, but I'm gonna turn it over to you. Let me know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of exactly what you said, right? We have talked about the SEC and how they need to have a resurgent season. They're not.
ACC.
Louisville sucks.
Yeah.
Clemson sucks.
Yep.
So when I'm looking at the top of the ACC, right, who can win the ACC? Who would I take neutral court over the rest of the top of the ACC in a tournament type setting? And it's Virginia.
Okay.
Virginia plays a brand of basketball that the other ACC teams have proven so far in this season to be completely unable to defend. So I think looking at just the way the ACC is going to fall out, SMU looks weak. Stanford sucks. Miami is like 180th in Ken Palm, right?
Yeah.
And Miami's a dangerous ACC team because like Florida State sucks and Boston College sucks. Like if the Big East comes calling, they need to just merge. Like I don't care, make it work.
That's not a
Because the
bad
ACC
idea.
they're a dying basketball conference.
Yeah, they are.
And it's concerning. So when I'm thinking about someone has to win, I like the kind of basketball Virginia's playing on offense and on defense. They are working to control the pace, but they can still score. They are able to put up points in bunches. And I think when we hit the stride of ACC play, I think they're better than Louisville. I think they're better than Clemson. So what I'm looking for from them, and 17 is aggressive. But when I look at the middle of my rankings, are they better than Gonzaga? I could make the argument. Are they better than Tennessee and Indiana? Probably. Illinois and North Carolina? Probably. I have them right behind LSU, Auburn, Georgia. So, it's based on what I've seen so far, where normally I try to keep my rankings like forward facing. But man, I'm having a hell of a time with all these teams that we just can't seem to figure out. But when I look at Virginia, that's what I see from Virginia is I believe they're the best team in the ACC. And I'm rewarding them for what I've seen.
Over Duke?
Oh yeah, I forgot about them. I have Duke at like 6.
Okay. So Duke, you could see Duke, Virginia being kind of a end of the season kind of 1-2 spot, and then a potential.
Yeah, I totally spaced on Duke. I was in the middle of my rankings. I have Duke at 6 overall.
Duke's incredible. They look really good. Yeah. So I mean that's a feasible. that's a feasible kind of.
Just undercut my whole argument there.
Had to play devil's advocate, and
Virginia's the second best team in the ACC, and I've been saying it all along.
I'm excited to see what they do against a very resurgent Dayton team today at 10 a.m. Big game to watch. I highly suggest if you want to watch a very good basketball game, watch Dayton, Virginia. It's going to be a very hard-fought game. Both teams play a very good style of basketball. I think for me, the reason why I struggle with Virginia is when you look at their wins, right? Their best win is Texas, who's ass, right? And then like you look at the loss versus Butler, and you're like, okay, like Butler's normally a tournament team, but they haven't been good, right? And I think where I struggle is defense and free throws win you championships, right? We saw Florida march through March Madness, with that style of play, and their free throw percentage is 265th in the country, but they're 46th in the country in attempts. So that's concerning that they're getting to the line so much, but not converting. If they can fix that, which they're very well coached, so I'm assuming that they're going to spend time tweaking and get your ass on the free throw line, and if you miss, you're running suicides. If they get that fixed, fully aligned with you, we could see this team make a run to the top 10. If they don't get that fixed, it's going to be tough for me to see a way in which they beat Louisville, although Louisville looks really bad. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on Virginia, because I haven't updated like 50 to 100 yet. So I have them incorrectly ranked at like 96 because they were so bad last year. But now that you've called them out, I'm going to take a look at that Dayton game today and move them up accordingly. I'm kind of looking at that 50 to 100 spot. So great call out on your behalf.
Yeah, you know what? I'll own missing Duke. Give me Virginia to win the ACC tournament.
Wow. Okay. I like that. Get the auto bid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Duke and Louisville take care of each other, and Virginia will clean up the mess.
I like that. That's a hot take. You could probably get good money on that one right now.
I'm looking right now.
You could probably get real good money on that. Wow, that's a hell of a call out. That's a hot take.
Right. You got anything else for top 25?
Nothing for top 25. Are you good? No, no other questions.
That's it for me.
Let's do it, man. Let's get to a couple of really good on notice teams this week, huh?
Let me see if I can get this to work. Nope. This tiny ass screen.
If you guys don't know, Rick has been having technical difficulties because he's moving. Now it's vertical.
Yeah, I can see it. Hold on.
Look at that.
I'm on my phone.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, Rick bought a new house and stuff. You know, he's big time now, so he's streaming. You know, from
A closet.
a piece of fruit or something. I don't know. Like it's been rough these past couple of weeks.
Oh man! All right, on notice. We've got some off the beaten path teams for you this week.
Oh yeah.
Belmont. Why don't you go ahead and start with them? That's the team that you stole from me, so I had to talk about Santa Clara for 30 seconds.
Yeah. Belmont Bruins, man. First of all, really cool logo. I look how freaking sick that is. Where the hell is Belmont? While he looks that up, they are in the Missouri Valley Conference. And if you guys remember us talking about watching mid-major basketball, we called out kind of the A10, the MAC, and then the Missouri Valley Conference was one of the conferences that we wanted you guys to keep an eye out for. And wow, does Belmont look good, right? 8-1 overall, 4-1 at home, and 2-0 away. I really like 2-0 away, Rick, because it proves to me that you can play in tough environments and get tough wins. Now, 8-1, you're thinking, who the hell did they lose to? Oh yeah, they lost to the Richmond Spiders, who might win the frickin' A10 this year. Like, Richmond is a tournament team. They've been in March Madness, as recent as a couple of years ago. So that loss does not bother me. I love the way this team is constructed from an offensive perspective, Rick. They have 6 guys over 9 points a game, 3 guys in double figures, 10 guys averaging 10 minutes per game. They're 25th in assists, 5th in field goal percentage, 4th in 2-point, and 37th in the country in 3-point made. The balance and the way that this coach subs guys in and out and make sure that there's always fresh bodies in the game to keep up their style of play has been really, really fun to watch. They're a second half team. So if you do not go into the half with the lead against the Belmont Bruins, you're done. You're cooked. They're averaging 47 points a game in the second half, which is good for 25th in the country. To me, that screams a team that can be close at half and then pull one of those 12-5 upsets in March Madness because they are a second half team. And I got to be honest, I don't know if you've watched Belmont play this year, Rick, but there's this guy, Nick McLean, who is essentially the Walmart brand version of Braden Smith. I'm going to be blowing this kid's DMs up to tell him to go to Purdue. 11 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals on 53% from the field and 42% from 3. This kid can play basketball. Watch out for Belmont, man. We saw the Missouri Valley Conference play really well last year in the tournament. Drake, obviously, huge upset in the first round of March Madness over, I want to say it was Missouri. Keep me honest. Yeah, but Belmont Bruins, man, keep an eye out for them. They got a pretty easy schedule coming up. We could be talking about a team that after conference play very well could be 30-3 or 30-4. Very, very fun team to watch.
I'm glad you gave the kid stat line because I assume what you meant when you said Walmart Braden Smith was that his beard is somehow even worse than Braden Smith's beard. But good to know we're talking stats.
Okay, yeah, I just had to get that in there, didn't you?
I got to take my shots where I can. They're gonna have a lot of shots today. All right, so. Over the weekend, everybody watched Maui. Everybody watched the Bahamas. Really good feast week. UC San Diego just went down to the tournament they were invited to. Okay, it was the EI. You can only play what they invite you to, but they whooped ass. I think this team might be the best mid-major on the West Coast. They went in. took down Temple and Bradley and Townsend by double digits in every single game. Those are good mid-major teams.
Oh yeah.
I know it's not Bama, it's not even Creighton, right?
Yeah.
But these are solid teams.
Yeah.
They play smart, they play real efficient, and now they're going to get into their conference schedule here as the best team in the conference. And I just really like what I see. They played Nevada tight. They lost Tuesday night. That was a tough one. I watched that game and just a little disappointing. They missed their spots. But Nevada is, I can't believe I'm going to say this, better than a high mid-major, So I don't hate that loss, but I think it also gave them a little flavor because now they've lost. And they're not going to want to do that shit again. So keep your eye on UC San Diego. I think they've got some run in them this year, and I wouldn't be shocked to see them make some noise in a tournament game. I don't know if they have what it takes to upset a top seed, but I think they're good.
Love the call out. Fucking mascot is awesome. The Tridents, Tritons. I don't even.
Tritons.
Yeah, Tritons. I mean, really cool mascot. And I'm interested to see. I love your call out, Rick. Big West looks good, man. Hawaii, UCSB, UC Irvine's not that bad. There's some teams that in the Big West could make some noise, but I'm predicting UC San Diego, Hawaii for conference championship. Those teams to me look like the ones that are kind of rising to the top.
Yeah, I think I have 6 of them inside my top 125.
Nice.
So obviously that'll shake itself out a bit, but they look good, man.
Yeah, they do. And I love the Hawaii call out as well. I don't want to get off UC San Diego, but the Hawaii call out that you had earlier this year is really panning out. Fun team to watch. I'll take us down to Texas, and I promise not to complain too much, but to me, the University of Texas men's basketball team is the essence of blue blood bias. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, horns down, especially since I graduated from A&M with a master's. So horns down all the way. They shouldn't have made the tournament last year. You and I have both agreed on that multiple times. They made the play-in as 11, lost Xavier, and they are probably going to make the tournament again this year because their name is the University of Texas Longhorns. And that's really frustrating to me, Rick, because it's going to take away a spot from a team who's actually deserved of making the tournament, like last year West Virginia was, like last year and SMU was. And, oh, yeah, they looked like shit last year. They lost in the play-in. And what did they do? They look like shit again this year. They've played 4 real teams. And they Duke, ASU, North Carolina, NC State.
No, hold on. You do not get to call ASU a real team.
It's a Power 5 team. You know what I mean? ASU looks more like a real team than Texas does. I'm about to put them on notice upwards next week. You better be careful. And they've gone 1-3 against those teams, including a 1-point loss against ASU at home. And this to me goes back to the argument that we've made today and a couple weeks ago. This has to be coaching because nothing is changing year over year. They come out flat. They look like shit. I don't know if it's their recruiting or their style, but it's so horrific to watch that I would suggest that if this team is playing on ESPN, turn it off. Like that's how much I hate watching them play. Virginia beat them by 20. They have UConn. UConn might beat this team by 50, Rick. Like, their defense sucks. They're 241th in allowed free throws made. They can't guard 3. They're 272nd in the nation there. ASU forced this team into 20 turnovers and 28 fouls committed. Arizona State, bro. And maybe kudos to Arizona State because they played Gonzaga tough and only lost by 12. And they beat Texas. Maybe I'm wrong about ASU this year, but this Texas team is faltering quick, and I would not be surprised if we saw Texas finish bottom 3 in the SEC this year. That's how bad they've looked. No offensive continuity. Their brand is not repeatable. Horns down. They suck.
Going to the Big Ten, I have a on notice hot seat combo.
I like it.
This season for Oregon is coming off the tracks in a hurry. I don't know how much organizational trust Dana Altman has at Oregon in that athletic department.
Yeah.
This has the hallmarks of a horrific season written all over it. I don't know if you can survive a 25-loss season. at Oregon.
No.
And we're going that way. The Big Ten is as good as it's ever been.
Yep.
And the shitty teams in the Big Ten, I know they're ranked. The AP does no wrong. USC sucks. USC sucks.
We talked about
them. And they beat Oregon. Oregon left Vegas in a body bag, man. They got butchered in that tournament.
Yep.
And if I'm Dana Altman, I'm running kids till they throw up every single day because you're not going to lose me my cushy ass job.
No.
I'm worried. I'm worried about Oregon. They look bad.
25 losses is, and for a second I was like, what is he talking about? UCLA, they're going to lose. They might lose to UC Davis. They'll beat Portland. They'll lose to Gonzaga by 40. Omaha, they should win. They might lose to Maryland. They'll probably lose to Rutgers. They'll lose to Iowa State. They'll lose to Nebraska. I mean, and then they have Michigan State back to back.
It's unlikely, but that's why I think it's a fireable offense.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a huge disappointment from last year, right? Because they made the second round and almost beat U of A. So, I think you rightfully called this team out after they only beat Hawaii by 1, which is a testament to how good Hawaii is and how bad Oregon is. If Oregon played Hawaii right now, tomorrow, Hawaii would beat them. So I think you nailed it with U of O being on watch out.
All right, let me try to change this slide. I'm going to do it a different way this time. Game of the week. Make sure you get onto Chainlink,
please,
and hit the dead ball dancing game of the week. Make sure that you put in the chat who you have winning this one. There is a right answer, and it's not what you think. It's not what you think. I will usually take every opportunity to shit on Purdue. Man, I did a deep dive on this one, and
you start us off. You kick us off, man. You kick us off.
We think of Iowa State as this defensive grinder, and it's really not who they are this season. You alluded to it earlier. They are averaging like 96 points a game.
Yeah.
This team can shoot the friggin' lights out. My only concern for Purdue is that they have not seen an offense like this and won't. This is kind of an anomaly in their schedule. I think if they can keep the first 3 quarters of this game within reach, the better team will win at the end of this game. But, man, the way the guards play for Iowa State, the speed in which they play, the efficiency with which they score, the steals, 11 steals a game for this team. Those are the things I'm looking at as Purdue, and I'm like, okay, these are the things we have to address. And I think that they're positioned well enough where they can be like, okay, address this, good. Address this, good. Purdue's not going to get scared out there. They're not going to be out of position. So super excited for this one. I'll let the Purdue guy wax poetic for a little bit, but man, Iowa State is for real on offense.
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared. I think I would love to tell you that I have the confidence that Purdue is going to put a Texas Tech ass whooping on Iowa State. No fucking chance. No chance. I think 5.5 is generous. I think it's going to be closer than 5.5 that you see in the top right there. That Rick has as the spread. We've come to know Iowa State as this formidable defensive masterclass, which I hate to say they still are. Right, they're 21st in scoring defense. They're second in forced turnovers. They're number 1 in steals, and they're 25th in free throw allowed per game. But the what's terrifying is their offense is phenomenal. By the way, just phenomenal. They're better in the second half than they are in the first. They're averaging 50 points in the second half, which is 3rd in the nation. They're 1st in field goals made. They're 1st in field goal percentage. They're 3rd in 3-point percentage on 24 attempts a game. They're not just shooting 10 threes a game. They're shooting threes, and they're 3rd in the nation in 3-point percentage. This is one of the most complete teams that Purdue is going to face all year. But I think there's holes. So for me, Iowa State, the only way they win this game is they have to be aggressive on the boards. They're 180th in defensive rebounds against Purdue's 26th in the nation in offensive rebounds. That is not a recipe for success for Iowa State. And we know if Purdue gets to the offensive glass, this can get ugly. Can, not will, can take care of the offensive glass. They have to go into Mackey Arena, Iowa State does, and quiet this crowd immediately. Purdue is only allowing 12 opponent free throws per game, which is best for fourth in the nation. And Iowa State relies on 14 free throws made. Get downhill, get to the line, take these fans out of the game early. That's the only chance that Iowa State has. Biggest problem I see for Iowa State is you have to guard the 3-point line. Iowa State is not going to play a better shooting team from distance all year than Purdue. That's just the case, right? They are allowing 34% from the 3-point line, which is 212th in the nation. You know how good Purdue is from three. I'll get to it in a little bit. So those are the three keys for me, and that's the only way that they're going to be able to win this game. I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, you talk about Mackey. I think it matters less than Purdue fans would like to think it does.
Maybe
this is not an unprofessional team in Iowa State.
No.
Obviously, the numbers speak for themselves, right? Mackey Arena, the record at home is huge. But this is a tournament team. This is a team that's been there. I'm not sure if you look at any of the teams in our top 10, top 15, I'm not sure home court matters much for any of them. My opinion. We'll see, obviously. It gets loud as hell at Mackey.
It does.
But I think the thing for me is that this game means more for Iowa State than it does for Purdue. Purdue has thought that they're the number one team in the country, certainly the number one team in the Big Ten all year. Yeah. And nothing has happened, I think, to undercut that for them, for the players. You beat Iowa State, and you are unquestionably the number one team in the Big Ten. But I don't think they're questioning it. I don't think the players are questioning it.
Yeah.
And I know the fan base isn't. Good Lord. But Iowa State, people have been down on them. People have talked bad about this Iowa State team. We trash on the Big 12 all the time. I think winning this game for Iowa State is colossal for their psyche. I think taking down, they jumped Michigan up there, but who cares? Taking down the consensus number one team in the country is massive. So I think there's going to be a little bit of an edge there for Iowa State because they're playing for more. And they can come in as that adversarial role. They're not supposed to win, right? No one wins in Mackey. Purdue's the best team in the country, right? Yeah. Nobody's like Iowa State's the best team in the country. Hope they don't drop this one against Purdue. It's just not the narrative. It's not the reality.
Yeah.
So I think when we talk about intangibles, we talk about the stats. I know you got a lot more.
Yeah.
And, ultimately, that's going to be what bears out, I think, is the stats. But the heart in this game is all in favor of Iowa State. They're the only ones playing for something more than just another win. Yeah. So I'll be watching for how their players approach the environment in Mackey, right? What they look like coming out of the half, coming out of the gates, what they look like in the last 5 minutes. I think if they can tap into that killer instinct we talked about with the SEC teams, that is what that piece that they're going to need to overcome a superior Purdue team.
Yeah. Man, dude, I got the chills. You just got me so hyped right now. Fuck. This has the potential to be not just the game of this year. I think this has the potential to be the game of the last couple of years. That's how good both of these teams are, in my opinion. I'm dead serious.
Do you remember when ESPN used to dump games to ESPN Classics immediately after they ended?
No.
Oh, dude, they used to do it all the time. Instant Classic. Like if you had a sick ass basketball or football game, they'd be like, "This is an instant classic. See it right now again on ESPN Classic."
I mean, this is a game that I would watch and then watch right after. That's how good this basketball game has the chance to be. I'm gonna get into Purdue a little bit before you and I get into overall predictions, if you don't mind. Hot take. If Purdue wins this game, I think we will undoubtedly win the national title. That is how good this Iowa State team has proven to be this year. I'm scared. But the thing is for how good Iowa State is, I don't think Iowa State is going to be playing an offense that is as balanced and as prolific as Purdue has proved to be this year. Number two in assists, number one in assist to turnover ratio, number 6 in 3-point percentage at 42% per game, 16th in overall field goal percentage, 29th in threes. We know what this offense can do, but I think what gives us the edge in this particular game is how much their defense has improved versus the version that we saw last year. If this was last year's defense, Rick, Iowa State might go into Mackey and punch us in the mouth so bad that we lose by 20. I'm not kidding. But I think because we've improved, 49th in scoring, 47th in field goal percentage, 4th in free throws attempted and made, 11th in fouls committed, we are much better on the defensive side of the ball, which I think bodes well and gives us the X factor edge that'll help us win this game. I mean, we did hold arguably the second best offense in the nation in Bama to 80 points. So we've seen a offense that is not as good, but similar style to Iowa State. So I'm not saying that we're going to be fully prepared for this team, but I think it'll help us if it gets into a track meet. Keys to victory before I turn it back over to you. You mentioned a track meet. What happens if this team turns it into an up and down battle? I've seen Purdue play both ways. Iowa State is only averaging 6 more points per game in fast break than Purdue is, which we know Purdue can make up by 2 threes in their stellar half-court sets. You have to dominate the glass. Purdue does. You're out-rebounding teams by 11. You're 14th in the nation in rebound margin, and Iowa State is prone to that. Grab your offensive rebounds, dish it out, leverage your interior strength for easy second chance points. And if you're not getting it to the line, kick it out to a corner three, let your shooters shoot. I can't believe I'm saying this, but shoot the 3 more than you shoot the 2. I want to see Purdue have 50% or more of their shot attempts be threes because Iowa State struggles with 3-point defense for some reason. Run your sets, get into dribble handoff formations. You have to tire out Iowa State's defense or you will get shit on. Move these defenders around and be ready to make shots when they're open because you're not going to get a ton of open attempts. So those are the keys for me for Purdue in this game. So without further ado, who we got?
Made some tweaks to my model because it's been a rough season so far of betting. But good early returns. Give me Purdue in this one. I'm laying the points. 82-75. Purdue, the points, the over.
82-75. That feels like a realistic score. So what you have the spread? Your spread's 7. 82-75.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
7. Okay. Man, holding Iowa State to 75 points is going to be really tough. That's going to be It's the
ATO percentage, man. They're gonna move the ball around and slow this game down. That's the only way. It's the only way they can get this done.
Yeah. And
I know you just talked about Purdue's ability to go end to end, but for 20 minutes, like they gotta slow the game down. They can do it in pockets, but
yeah.
I want to see 4 or 5 passes of possession and clean shots and
run your weaves, run your dribble handoffs. Yeah, I think shit, Rick. I would love if Purdue won by 7 points. I would love if Purdue won by 7 points. But I'm thinking the score is a bit higher. I'm thinking it's similar to the Bama. I'm thinking Purdue's going to need to put up anywhere between 87 to 90 points to win this game. I think they're going to have to shoot 50% from 3 to win this game. Give me Purdue 90, Iowa State 87. And a 3-point victory for Purdue in Mackey Arena. I'm going to go opposite from you. I'm going to take under the spread, but over the points. So yeah, 90 to 87, Purdue.
Well, you heard it here first, guys. We're both on the over, so hammer the under. This is a 52 to 56 game. So in overtime,
I hope, dude. If we keep Iowa State full game to just their second half scoring, I'm happy. So it sounds like we're both taking Purdue. Scared, very, very scared, and very nervous. So
should be a good one. I'll have it on the audio. I won't be watching this one until later in the week, but I'll have it on the audio.
And quietly, by the way, also at 10 a.m. is an absolute bloodbath of Duke versus Michigan State. I mean, oh my God. If you can split your screen, these two games that we just mentioned, our game of the week and Michigan State, Duke, two game of the years, tough choice for us to go which game of the week, but this one ultimately is going to be the game of the year.
Yeah, I'm excited. Good basketball week. Obviously, some real great ones today.
Yeah, absolutely. What else you got? Anything else?
I think that's it for me, man. I'm ready for conference season. I'm ready to be done with these marquee matchups. I want to see Purdue play Northwestern on a Tuesday early afternoon and just see what happens.
Yeah, it's good. Scoring game's going to be 48 to 43. Purdue. So, yeah. A lot of good basketball this week. Watch out for LSU Texas Tech tomorrow. I think LSU will steal a game there. Clemson BYU on Tuesday, December 9th. Very interesting game. Illinois Ohio State, dude.
That's a Big Ten setter right there, man. That's gonna determine a lot of how we talk next week about this Big Ten.
And then last one that I'm very interested in, and this kind of rounds out the marquee matchups to your point, UConn Florida. We've shot on Florida. I like to fade UConn. Florida beats UConn.
Right back in it.
Right back in it. So a lot of good basketball, man. A lot of good basketball this week.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Dead ball dancing. We got an awesome game of the week on deck here. Make sure you get your picks in on Chainlink. I want to see your winner in the chat. And if you're Justin's family, I don't want to see Purdue's just out of pity. No pity Purdue picks. You tell me who you really think is going to win. It's probably still Purdue, but for the right reasons. Make it for the right reasons, guys.
Yeah, don't appease me. And also put it in the comment section too, please. And especially our colleague, don't go up to Rick and put your picks in. Put it in the damn comments so we can get some algorithm love. I'm disappointed. I'm putting him on a pip. Anyways, thanks for watching. Great episode. And I'm good on mine.
Enjoy the weekend. And who knows where I'll be filming from next time. Might be poolside.
We'll see you guys next week, man.
All right, guys. Take it easy. Peace out.